Hello and welcome to another podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. If you're watching this, me, on video now, please know that you are not listening to a podcast. You're watching a video where I'm talking about podcasting. However, if you'd like to get the podcast, just go to podcastpontifications.com. It will be there. This is the episode that almost didn't happen because of a chronic problem of mine, but luckily an acute solution saved the day. Brief understanding what that was. So my back went out about 20 minutes before this happened. And it happens. I have a bad back. It happens. But luckily, thanks to the magic of paracetamol, some other products, I was not forced to go out on the street corner and find somebody who sells heroin. I live downtown. I can't imagine that's that hard to do. But I didn't. Paracetamol, that's acetaminophen for the American audiences, which I am as well, but over time. Anyhow, that fixed the problem. Yay! Chronic problem solved by an acute solution. So I'm mostly able to move and function for the rest of the day, which is good news. But it got me to thinking about podcasting. As I often think about podcasting, I pontificate on podcasting quite a bit. And the acute solutions we often apply to chronic problems. Because I know paracetamol isn't fixing my back. It's just getting rid of, it's alleviating symptoms. That's it. It's symptomatic care. That's really it. I think, after dealing with this with the pain-induced haze, that we do a lot of that in podcasting. We do a lot of acute solutions to chronic problems. And there's really one big chronic problem that we face in podcasting. And that's growing our audience. We want more people to listen to our show. That is a chronic problem that our podcast faces, that your podcast faces, that everyone's podcast faces. And the solutions we turn to are typically very acute. And as we know from healthcare professionals the world over have told us that acute solutions on chronic problems do not alleviate those. So let's talk about them. Let's talk about a few acute solutions for chronic problems. Oh, by the way, acute solutions are awesome in the moment. As my back is now telling you, my brain is now telling me, wow, much, much, much better. So they're not bad. Just understand that they are acute solutions. Again, the chronic problem is audience growth. So how do you combat audience growth? Well, you ask the experts, you listen to the experts, you read the experts, and they'll tell you lots of ways to help grow your audience out there. And one of the biggest ones is getting a big name person on your podcast, which works. Holy cow. You get the right person to guest on your show or to tweet about you, you will see a massive spike in downloads, which means more people have listened. Yay! Congratulations. Congratulations. You have now placed an acute solution to your chronic problem of listener growth. However, what you will find after that big spike that you noticed is that a lot of them don't hang around. A lot of single accesses of that file, a lot of browser-based activity on that one episode doesn't necessarily lead to more people listening for the long haul. They tend to listen once and go away. Much like this aspirin. It's not aspirin, paracetamol. Is going to go away, and I'll have to deal with the fact that my muscles are still tweaked in my back. Acute solutions work temporarily, but not for the long haul. Another acute solution to the chronic problem of audience growth is actually the reverse of that. You, the host of the program, going on and guesting on another podcast. Yeah, that works. Again, it works. If you get on your podcast is getting 1,000 downloads for whatever period of time. If you can go on another podcast that is in the same genre, same vein as yours, that gets 10,000, like 10 times as number of listeners that you have, and you're a really, really good guest, woohoo! Some of those people will then click through and become a listener of yours as well. That can actually work. But also what you notice is the same thing. a lot of those single access, browser-based activity on your most recent episode that's listed on your website. Not all of them become subscribers. Again, it's a cute solution. You did something. You got your name out there. People hit. But then the chronic problem, and I'm going to talk about the chronic problem in just a moment. Then the chronic problem reared its ugly head, and you get a few accesses, but not long-term listeners. Same is true for the acute solution of using lots and lots and lots of social media posting. Maybe you tweet twice as much. Maybe you decide to start sharing things on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr and all the other places you can. You use interesting audiograms and all sorts of other activity. You notice that your engagement goes up. You notice that accesses of those files go up. You do something called Twitter bombing, where you post direct links to your MP3 file over and over again, and people click, and yeah, your numbers went up. But when you stop doing those social activities, what you notice is that your audience isn't there anymore. They just kind of go away. Again, it was an acute solution to the chronic problem. What is the chronic problem? We know listener growth is a problem, but what's the root cause of that chronic problem? Well, it could be lots of things, but as any health practitioner will tell you, when you're dealing with a chronic problem, acute solutions may temporarily make it go away, but they're not long-term. So for long-term, you got to start unpacking and find out what's wrong. Why is it? What is the problem? What are the problems behind your show? A lot of it has to do with audio quality. And I wish there was a pill you could take to improve your audio quality, but there isn't. It's a mixture of the proper equipment, it's a mixture of the proper techniques, and it's a mix of the time it takes to put together and assemble a quality product. I'm sorry, if you spend an hour and a half on this a week, you're probably not making a quality product. The second really, really big problem is you're not making it easy for people to become long-term listeners on your show because the site that you use, that you direct people to, sucks. That's a chronic problem. There isn't a magic button on WordPress or Squarespace or whatever you're using as your website host to reduce the amount of suckage. You have to really be thoughtful and cognizant and very much with intent when you design the page you're going to bring people to. And here's the trick, by the way. Here's the good news. All those acute solutions that you're using, well, they won't work to make my back any better. Those acute solutions to your chronic problem will work for you once you've fixed the underlying problems with your show. If you increase the quality of your show and a big name guest comes on and listens, and the people are genuinely, his audience who comes to listen to that episode, if they are genuinely impressed with the way you interviewed that person, with the quality and the sound and the everything that went into your show, if they're impressed, there is a much greater likelihood of them becoming subscribers as if when the audio sucks. Same thing, when you're guest hosting somewhere and someone visits and says, this is great, this person seems very knowledgeable on what they have to say, I want to check out his website, and they go to your website, and it's great, it's well laid out, there's lots of information that's available to them, and more importantly, it's very easy for them to become a listener, then they will. As opposed to getting to a website where it just simply sucks, and they have no idea what to do, and they move on with their day because you were interesting, but they saw 15 interesting things today, and they don't need to have all of them back in their heads one more time. And also the same for your social media posting. If the activity, the attention you're getting leads to people going to your site to see what's happening and it's good, the foundations are set, then those acute solutions can help with that chronic problem because you'll get more listeners because things look better on the other end. This is not easy. Chronic problems are not easy to solve, but I would love to help solve them. If you need some assistance with this is what I do. I launch podcasts, and I keep them running, and I keep people out of the technical weeds and show them how to do things the right way. Get in touch. evo@podcastlaunch.pro. Podcastlaunch.pro lists several different services I offer to my clients, and I shall be back tomorrow with yet another Podcast Pontifications. Cheers!